Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Long time no see. It's been a minute tumekuwa hatujaingia studio, but so today I decided I'll drop a mini-sode of the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup going down under in Australia and New Zealand. Yeah. Nakwambia kadimbas kanasakatwa na wanawake. Mademo wanacheza futa tamu sana. I know the usual prejudice and bias against women, especially from some of my fellow peers. Wamesema hawa recognize women's football, and so I decided to drop a small mini-sode, like a mini-sode, to just give some insight into the recent World Cup ongoing. Actually, by now the World Cup it's approaching the quarterfinals. Yeah, today it was the last round of 16 matches were being played today, whereby Colombia were playing against Jamaica. Yeah, the Reggae Girlz against their fellow debutants Colombia, aka the Caicedos. Actually, by the way, keep an eye on that girl. Check your day. Anita Linda Caicedo. She plays for Real Madrid. She's only 18. Yeah, she only turned 18, and I think this year she's played in this calendar year. She's played in 3 World Cups: the under-17, the under-20s, and then now this one, the seniors. And already she's responsible for dumping out Germany. Yeah, because Colombia they beat Germany. Waliwachapa 2-1. And Linda Caicedo scored one of the goals. It was also a very, very well taken goal, a very beautiful, very awesome goal. And also fellow debutants, Reggae Girlz, aka Jamaica, led by their captain Bunny Shaw from Manchester City. For all those who follow up with the WSL, Women's Super League in England, that one is she's the captain for Jamaica. She plays for the Reggae Girlz. Yeah, she does her trade back in Manchester City women. This Women's World Cup has been very, very exciting, by the way. I know it is not trending for most of the people, and it has been slightly overshadowed by the preseason and the beginning of the league for the men's, but as someone who follows the games widely, you can also check out my Twitter at I am Jenga, yeah, pale hivyo Mugonjenga. I always keep up with it. I always post updates on the games, yeah, and also you can check another account, Box to Box Register. Pale hivyo they keep you up to date with the ongoings of the World Cup, the female Women's World Cup. It has been so far an exciting tournament, but if someone, by the way, could have told you Nigeria were almost dumping out reigning European champions England, aungeamini. But damn, I tell you, Nigeria, they play a very good game. Yesterday, aungesema hiyo ndio ile timu yenye England, ile timu yenye ilichapa China 6-1. Because England yesterday, they were out. They were like game hawakucheza. Lauren James was totally shut off. Russo was nowhere to be seen. Hemp was just there. Like, England were totally shut down. You could not have told even the return of Keira Walsh, the midfield maestro, the Barcelona linchpin, Keira Walsh, the one whose injury in the game against Denmark caused so many English hearts to be in freckles. Wase wengi walikuwa wameingiza baridi sana huko hivyo UK, the prospect of losing Keira Walsh. And it was, if you look at Keira Walsh and the way the English team set up, she's paramount, she's key and parcel to that team. So losing her was going to be a very, very painful ordeal and also detrimental to their success. But for some reason, Sarina Wiegman and the girls, they were able to rally, they were able to think out of the box, and they deployed a 3-5-2, which by there I saw it coming, kind of, given the talents in that team. If you look at 3 at the back, you have Millie Bright, she plays for Chelsea. Very, very good defender. And then you have Alex Greenwood from Man City, and then you have Jess Carter. Yeah, Jess Carter, the Chelsea right back. So you see, if you set up like that, Millie Bright at the center, and then with Greenwood, who has an affinity for playing on the left side. She plays as a left center back, but she's good with her feet. Her passing range is very, very good, close to Leah Williamson, who I believe is one of the best passers in the game, both long range and short game in the women's game. Yeah. So second to her, I'd prefer to have Greenwood. Her passing range is so good, precise, accurate, and very, very good passes, both long range and short range. So having Millie Bright, who is off a bit in terms of pace, but very, very combative, very solid, very, very reliable in that midfield. So she plays at the center of the mid with Millie Bright, with Alex Greenwood, and Jess Carter on either side. And then you have Lucy Bronze, of course. She naturally tends to move forward. Lazima push mbele. She's an overlapping forward, and that one suits her game very well. And then on the other side, the idea of playing with Rachel Daly, who actually is the current WSL top scorer with 22 goals. By the way, when she plays for Aston Villa, she's a striker. She's the main person. She's the main target. Yeah, she plays as the target striker. Yeah, out and out. But in the English setup, I actually think playing her as the left back in that setup as a 3-5-2, now she plays as a left wing back, actually is good. And also, given the talents in that English team, it really, really suits her perfectly. Because when you have Kira Walsh, a fit Kira Walsh, playing as the linchpin, as the 6, and then you have the industrious Georgia Stanway as the 8, and you have like Ella Toon also as the 8, as the auxiliary 8, the hybrid 8-10, because she also tends to drift out a bit towards the wings. So you see, by her moving in and out of central areas, it allows for Rachel Daly to overlap and to also come centrally. And by her forward instincts, ule mama anacheza, ule mama kona shot ingine wazimu bana. So that English team was no walkover. And imagine Nigeria were able to push them back. In fact, Nigeria were very, very unlucky. Alozi could have scored like 2 goals. I don't know. It just wasn't their day. Because considering even England in the 80th minute, they went down to 10. Yeah, Lauren James was sent off for a petulant, needless red card. Because, okay, I'm not going to get into her, like unload into her and put all the blame on her, but for a player of her caliber and stature, I know she's young and all, but this is the World Cup. It doesn't get any grander than this in women's game. So she could have done better. Anyway, all that is bygone. Yeah. And she's very relieved that England were able to go through, because it could have been very, very bad for her. And her being a woman of color, things will have turned on her real quick. Yeah. Whenever a black person does a mistake, things get out of hand real quick, and suddenly the racism is just implode on her. So as much as yes, Nigeria weren't able to get through, it was also a relief for Lauren James. So she's a very talented young woman. She's good with her feet, technically very gifted, and there's so much that we can look forward from her. There's so much that can come from her. So I hope I know she's going to miss in the semis, but the semis, England are going to play against Colombia. Yeah. So, and the way the depth on that English squad they're not going to miss her so much. Not okay. Of course, they're going to miss her talent and her presence, but you have Elatum coming to slot right in. You have someone like Jordan Nobbs also coming to slot right in. So it's not going to be a very big miss. Yeah. So anyways, it is very, very disappointing for us as Africans that Nigeria could not be able to get past, despite playing very, very well. Yeah, Nigeria walicheza vizuri sana. And given the fact that Asisat Oshoala, the reigning Champions League winner, and also a two-time Champions League winner with Barcelona, she was not able to play for the whole part of the game. Yeah, she came in as a substitute, and you can just appreciate the way Nigeria have been able to go this far, with Oshoala not being a constant presence in the pitch. Like she doesn't even start all of the games. She comes in as a super sub, like we saw in the Australia game where she came in and grabbed the winner. That tells you a lot about the team. For instance, there are players like Tony Payne, yeah, who plays her trade in the US. Also, you can remember someone like Plumtree, yeah, the Spurs right back. You can easily note her because she's the, and I don't want to be misquoted on this, but she's the light skin in that team. She's the lighter one. Yeah, she's the brown chick in that team. Yeah, Plumtree. She plays for Spurs, the right back, and then there are good players. There's Ajibade, there's Uche. That team is very, very talented. Yeah, very, very. To think that they went all this far without having to constantly put Oshoala in the game, and also reducing the pressure from her for having to carry the team and all, and also instilling the belief in the others. Yeah, So all I can say, it's been a very, very good way. They've been able to do it so well. And Nigeria, they are the reigning 11-time African Cup champions. Yeah. So they're also no mean feat for them. The Women's World Cup has been very, very exciting. It has been very, very exciting. For those who don't watch, just go and watch the highlights. And now get ready to catch up in the quarters, because it's going to implode. Japan blew away Spain in the group stages like they were nothing. And for some reason, people thought that Spain maybe were going to collapse, because also you remember the last time the other team who beat Spain more than 4 goals were Switzerland. Yeah, and Switzerland were, I think Spain, they were able to get themselves out of that Japanese onslaught, because waligeuzia Switzerland design ingine bana, they beat them 5-1. 5-1 is no joke. Switzerland, they are the hosts of the next Euros. Yeah, and they are also a regular presence, regular heavyweights in the European competitions. This is their 3rd World Cup, if I'm not wrong. So you see, they are no walkovers. Japan were able to sail past through Norway, who have been very underwhelming. They have been very underwhelming for me. They're just like for me, Norway and America. Yeah, the USWNT, the US Women National Team. They have been very, very underwhelming. Very, very subpar performances. Don't be blinded. Don't be fooled by the performance of the US against the results. Because the results, if you look at the results and the stats, maybe they will show you another side. But if you look at the actual game, the performance of the Americans, hasn't been good. Even by the way they sailed through to the round of 16, their game against Portugal, they escaped merely by Portugal not making good of their chances. And that one you can blame it to naivety, because also Portugal were participating for the first time. And a very young team, by the way. Jessica Silva had the best chance of the game, and then there was the crossbar hit in the second half. That one, it was the one whereby we all knew this one, US were going home. They were booking the next flight to JFK. But for some reason, they were able to get through. And even if you can remember, right after, throughout the group stages, the current captain who was not able to participate because of injury, Kylie Lloyd, she really talked about it. She said it, she mentioned it. Even Alex Morgan was always pushing it, saying it, bringing up the topic, the way the Americans are not playing good, the USWNT, they are not playing their best game, they are way off their performances. Like, it was just way off. So the red flags were there to be seen. Despite them playing a very good game against Sweden, they really brought it all. That one I cannot fault them. Just that I can say maybe their finishing was a bit off because they created a lot of chances. Musovic had 11 saves. The last time I saw a keeper making 10 plus saves in one game was the year against Arsenal in 2017. So for Musovic to make 11 games throughout 120 minutes, it's no joke. Against the reigning champions, the 4-time World Cup champions, the Americans. But I can't really pinpoint it to anything, but the US have been poor in this tournament. For me, this is not the American team that I always know. If you can remember, in the 2019 edition, they blew away all competition. Despite, in that one also they started a bit slowly, but they picked up their momentum soon after. But this time they were just slow, and I think this one was mentioned somehow by indirectly, the Netherlands coach mentioned it. He said the Americans, they are no longer the team they used to be. They are not as superior as they used to be, and I think he has been proven right, kwa sababu, as you can see, wamechujwa, even if it was by penalties, which by there was a very intriguing penalties, because it had to take goal line technology, ndio ilikuja ikaamua, because the US and the Swedish, the game went to a stalemate 0-0 draw all the way up to 120 minutes. So the penalties were the ones to decide. First of all, they were taking awful penalties. The ones that went in, they were very good ones. But the ones that they were missed, the ones who missed their penalties, they missed them awfully. Like, they look like Conversaruji. People kicking the ball all over to the fans. So some things need to be addressed. The technical aspects, there's some technical aspects of the game that need still to be addressed. But the ones who scored their penalties, they scored very beautiful penalties, very well taken penalties. So that was that. And it came to Lina Hartig, who by the way was missing. He was missing in that game. By the way, other than that penalty score, other than scoring the winning penalty, for me, honestly, I know she's an Arsenal player, but let's just call it as it is. She was off the game. If the Swedes were to check out, for me, that sub, I could have considered it as having been wasted. Yeah, she was so poor of the ball. She had zero press. Her passes were very misplaced. She just wasn't it. And even in the previous games, I think what is happening to Lina Hartig is the injuries that she's had since she joined Arsenal, coupled with the lack of minutes that she hasn't gotten at Arsenal. They have really had an impact on her confidence, because her game is way off. If you compare the Hartig that we saw in Juventus like two years ago, she's not the same. The Hartig that was in the Euros, she's not the same. So something needs to be addressed there. I hope by scoring this winning penalty, maybe she's going to regain some of the momentum and some of the confidence a little bit, because Sweden will need her. They cannot keep depending on the greatness of Ilesdat Amanda, the defender, the Arsenal defender, who literally has carried them one way or another. So I think the likes of Stina has been decent. Okay, given that Sweden, they don't have most of the service, they don't service her very well up front, but she has been decent. In terms of centre forward play, she has been good. I cannot fault her for that. And we saw that one evident in the round in the last game before the game against Italy. Yeah, she played good centre forwardship. But I need to see more from Rolfo. I need to see more from Aslani and the likes of Benison. Although the Benison, she is having to do with spare minutes. But someone like Jacobson, they need to give out more. And then the experienced people like the likes of Lina Hartig. So Sweden, they need to get back in control and get back real quick, because they're facing Japan, and Japan, they are the favorites. They're among the favorites for this title. Yeah. And Spain are somewhat a favorite, so we need something. We need people to up their game so that the quarters won't be boring. We don't want one-sided dominations. We want a very, very exciting game. Yeah. In the other round of 16 matches, we saw France were able to dispatch Morocco today by 4-0, thanks to a brace from Les Samoa. I hope I got it wrong. I hope I got it right. Yeah, Les Samoa. And Akadidu Diani masterclass. Yeah, she provided 2 of the assists in that game and also scored 1 goal for herself. And then the other one, I think it was Kashawi also had Kashawi had an assist in that game as well. And the other goal I can't remember well. Oh, it was scored by Kenza Dali, the Aston Villa midfielder. By the way, let me bring to your attention Kenza Dali. She has been an underrated player in the WSL, and right now people are just starting to see how good she is. She has been very good in that French side, despite even just not scoring, but she has been very, very good. She has fit in so well, keeping out the likes of Toletti, and fitting in very well with the likes of Gayoro. You all know Gayoro is world class, Grace Gayoro. But Kenza Dali has fit in so well. Also, in the other matches, we saw Australia, the host. They were able to dispatch Denmark 2-0 yesterday, with Arsenal's Caitlin Ford, scoring 1 goal, and then the other one was by their top scorer, Hayley Russell, who, by the way, if you all can remember, 5 years back, is it 5 years or 3 years back, she had a life-threatening injury that it was deemed like she was not going to ever play again for Australia, leave alone play. It seemed like she was not even going to ever walk again. I think it had something to do with her spine, some vertebrae column or something. You can see the transformation in that woman. She has been able to since come back to fitness. She was able to heal, come back to fitness, and now she is leading the charges for her country, despite the absence of Sam Kerr, the iconic Australian national hero. And so this one promises to be a very, very exciting one, because England are going to face Colombia. In the quarters, England are going to face Colombia, and France are going to face Australia, which we are going to see the return of Sam Kerr. She was able to come back in the Denmark game. She came for the last 20 minutes, and you could see the way the reception she received. This one was going to be a very, very exciting, like everyone had been expecting. You remember the time when the news broke out that Sam Kerr angehata hizo game mbili za kwanza. kulikuwa na some sadness in the team because walikuwa wanaona this is the World Cup at home, our star forward, our iconic forward, she's not going to start. And also, you know, she's the captain, so ilikuwa, she's a leader above everything and else. She's a leader, and also she supplies the goals. And then ukiangalia Australia, the first game they had to rely on a penalty to dispatch Ireland, which was a very, very tight game, which was, by the way, the penalty was coolly taken by Arsenal's Steph Curtley, who has been the stand-in captain. So, and also in the second game, Australia, they were not as convincing because, you know, they were beaten by Nigeria, who had to come back because Australia first took the lead right before the second half, and then that they did not even maintain the lead for a long time before wakaequaliziwa, and then Nigeria went on to score 2 more goals. So you see, Australia have been shaky for some reason. Back at in their last game, the one that were playing against Canada, the thing was, ilikuwa wakienda draw ama wa lose, chances are they were going to come out, they were going to be eliminated at home. So, and even in that game, they also had to rely on another penalty. I know they won 2-0, but they had to rely 3-0. I mean, but they had to rely on another penalty. Actually, it's 4-0. Because I remember Hayley Russell scored a brace in that game, and then there was that one by Mary Fowler, and then the Steph Curtley penalty right at the end. So you see, but if you look at the game, by the way, it was very, very edgy. It was not straightforward. So Australia minus, they really came into themselves around that Canada game, and by getting through to the knockouts, it really rallied the nation behind the team. And then now they've been boosted by the return of Sankar, their captain, their all-time leading top scorer, for both men and women, by the way. Step aside Tim Cahill. Buddha. That team, remember in the World Cup build-ups, they beat France. They beat France 1-0 in the tournament, in the match played at home. So when Australia, they have a fully fit team, they are a force to reckon with. So that was that. And then in the other, so in the semi-finals, in the quarter-finals, I mean, we have Japan versus Sweden, and then the other one we have is the other one we have is France versus Australia. So those are 4 teams. Then we have England versus Colombia. And then the other one is, which are these 2 last things? Let me confirm. So as you can see, England, they're going to play against Colombia. And then France are going to play against the host nation Australia. Japan are going to play against Spain. And finally the other one is Sweden against Japan. Sweden against Japan. The Netherlands versus Spain. So that one is going to be an all-European contest. And then France versus Australia, and England against Colombia. This one is set out to be a very, very exciting knockout rounds. Another set of knockout rounds. So you see, based on the way these games have been drawn up, England have been able to avoid Spain, Netherlands, Sweden, and Japan. Also, France as well have been able to avoid those 4 teams that I've mentioned before, and also the same for Australia. By virtue of seeing what is superficial, those three sides, they have a somewhat easy, in quotes, not easy directly, but easy in quotes, easy way to the finals. Because if you if you're able to avoid a team like Spain, a team like Netherlands, a team like Japan, a team like Sweden, you have one half of your leg in the finals. Because those 4 teams that I've mentioned, they are no joke. As you could see, even Netherlands, in the game they played with, in the group stages, they played against the US. They played a very beautiful game. They were overly dominant against the Americans. And the Americans are the reigning defending champions. So that one is no joke. And also, the way Spain dominated in their game against dispatching, the way they dispatched Switzerland, having the likes of Alexia Putellas, Aitana Bonmati, Hermoso, Redondo. That's a very well established team. And then one of the best right backs in the world in Onya Batil. You have a very good team there. So if you can be able to avoid them, I think England have to really take their chances. The Lionesses have to take their chances. Yeah. For France and Australia, it's a bit hard on, because those are 2 heavyweights clashing together. But for England, given the talent on their team, I'm not berating the Colombian team, but given the talent and the names on that team and the way the English play, yes, the Colombians will put up a fight, but England, they have one foot in the semi-finals. And I don't want it to get into their heads or something, but yeah, I can comfortably say here, England, they are going through to the semis. Then the other semis, we'll see Australia take on France. This one is going to be a hard-hitting affair. This one is going to be very, very hard to predict. But if I was a betting man, I will put my money on Australia being the home team. You cannot underestimate the way the home team, the support of the home team. Those, when you're in the pitch playing, it's like playing away. When you're in the pitch and all the support is for the home team, when you touch the ball, all the boos, all the noise around you, it can be a bit destabilizing for you, even for those experienced people. So this one is going to be very, very exciting. I'd say a slim win, and also given by the boost given by the return of Samka, it's going to be very, very boosting for Australia. So I can say a slim win for Australia, maybe a 2-1 or a 3-2 or a 1-0, because we've seen a lot of 1-0s in this World Cup. So let's also not forget that a 1-0 might also come into play. So I'll say Australia versus England for the semis. And on this other side, you're going to get Spain versus Netherlands. This one is going to be exciting. This one, I can't really tell which way it's going to go. On one hand, you have the Netherlands, led by Jill Rood, led by the likes of Victoria Pelova and Danielle De Jong, and their fabulous keeper, Van Domsla, who has just signed to Aston Villa, by the way. He's signed to Aston Villa Women, who lost their starting choice keeper, Hannah Hampton, to Chelsea. So you can see things here are going to get very, 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 very exciting. And as I've mentioned, Spain are no walkovers. This one is going to be a very hard-hitting affair. So if I was to predict it, I'd say by virtue of them being all European countries, they know themselves too much. They know themselves a lot. So, but I'd give some edge to Netherlands, because Netherlands, as we see, they started a bit off in their first game against Costa Rica. They were somewhat slow, but they picked up in the US. They picked up in the game against the US. They put in a good performance. Forget the draw, forget the results for a minute. They put up a very good performance, and also they carried on with it onto their last game against South Africa. They also played a very good one. So that one, you cannot fault them. I know Sorry. I'm being reminded the first game Netherlands they played against the Portuguese, where they were able to get through with a 2-0 win. And also now in their last game also against the South Africans, they put in also a good performance, and like performance-wise, they've been on the up. Yeah. So that was a good one. I'll say against the Spanish, given by the virtue of their experience, they've been, Netherlands, they've played a lot of, like in the last tournament, they reached in the finals. They only lost to the US in penalties, and also they are the previous to the 2020 Euros, the ones which were played in 2021. Netherlands were the defending champions. They had won the tournament back in 2017. So Netherlands, by virtue of being more experienced and heavy in terms of just the European experience, I'd give it to the Netherlands. They'll be able to scrap through with the result. So I put them to get through Spain in the semis. And then Japan versus Sweden. That one is going to be unpredictable. That one, for sure, I don't know. Like, I'm excited by either side going through, because on one side, you have Sweden. Sweden are playing a very, very organized game. Their strength, they are the set pieces. Yeah. They've scored like 3 or 4 goals from set pieces, with Amanda Ilestad leading with 3 goals. And then also, they are very, very composed defense-wise. And then on the other hand, you have the Japanese machine. The Japans, they are very, very articulate in their attacks. The way they set up, the way they press you. You see the way they were able to dismantle the low block of the Zambians in the group stage. The way they were able to dismantle the tiki-taka of the Spanish in the group stage. The Japanese, they are a force to reckon with. This one is going to be it's going to be very exciting, very hard to predict for me. Man, I don't know for sure. I don't know who to put my money on. But if I was a betting man, I would just say, for diversity's sake, and so that we can be able to get our defenders back on time from the World Cup. We also have preparations for the Women's Champions League. Yeah, we are going to play the playoffs. I will maybe say Japan are going to get through, so that we can just have Stina Hartig and Ilestad returning early, so that they join our preseason and help us in the qualifiers. But I don't know. They might even get through. Like this one I just don't know. So that one, I will say maybe the semis might be Netherlands versus Sweden or Japan. That one I'm just going like that. On the other hand, I'll say Australia versus England. And then maybe, just maybe, a home tournament. Remember, a home tournament against the reigning European champions. That one is unpredictable. Okay, for now I would say Australia will try. They will try, because the last time Australia played England, they actually beat them. They beat them 2-0, thanks to Sam Kerr brilliance. The English, they might, and I don't know if Lauren James will have returned by that game, or she will still be serving her ban. But if she will be back, she might be the one who will influence that game. For me, I really rate her high. Despite that moment of madness that she had in the Nigerian game. I know if she comes back for the Australian game, she's going to be the determiner. She's going to influence that game a lot. Even if she'll not score or assist, she might be the one who actually opens up that game. So there, I might lean a bit slightly on the Lionesses and tip them for the finals. And then on the other hand, whether it's Spain or Japan, the Netherlands are going to be having one eye on the final. And given by the experiences, this one is going to come it's going to come down to experience. If it's Japan versus Netherlands, all of them are experienced. All of them, they are finalists. And Japan having been a winner back in 2020, is it 2011? 2015. Yeah. No, 2011, because Japan won in 2011. Then the US won in 2015 and 2019. So Japan, they might just make it to the final, or the Netherlands will edge them just a little bit, because both sides are very experienced in terms of playing in the World Cup, playing in the latter stages of the game. So my dream, if I was to give out a prediction for the final, I will put it to an all-European final, England versus Netherlands. Yeah. But also slightly, there's a possibility also that it can be England versus Japan. A slight chance, maybe for me, I'm putting it at 20% there. And then 45% on Netherlands versus England. And then Australia versus Netherlands. Okay. Australia versus Japan. Yeah. The Asian Confederation sides. That one I can put it as at 15%. And then there's a slight chance of Australia versus Sweden. That one at 5%. Does it make sense? 15, and then the 20, that's a 40. And then 40% Australia versus England. Yeah. I know, it's still very, very early to call. A lot can change by there. This one is not the final prediction, but that is just a slightly calculated guess, and just an opinion from me, by the way. So far, we've seen a lot of disappointment, so don't rule it out. Heavyweights can be chucked out. We might be surprised to see even England going home against the Colombians, because, already Canada, they had been slayed by the Giants. The Giants have been slayed. We have seen Canada go home. We have seen the second place ranked Team Canada go home. We have seen US go home, the first ranked. Like in this tournament, the first team and the second team ranked, they are already home. You see? It's no joke. This tournament is very, very hard. We have already seen Switzerland go home. We have already seen Brazil go home. So it won't be a surprise if another giant is slayed. So there's always the possibility of that happening. But I think when we come to these latter stages, the experience is going to come through from these senior sides. Anyways, so for me, one of the best players who has turned out in the tournament has been Lauren James. Despite the red card, she has been a very, very influential figure in the English setup, considering she came in from the second game. And also, in the Spanish side, we have Aitana Bonmati. Aitana Bonmati, the Barcelona linchpin. And also, we have Linda Caicedo. And also another person who has turned out, by the way, Kadidou Diani, by the way, in the French side. She has been very, very exceptional. And also the likes of Kashawi, the French left back. She plays for PSG. So far, those have been the standout players. And also for the host sides, Steph Catley. Not just in terms of the goals. It's penalties, but taking up the leadership when Samka was not available. And it's a home tournament. The pressure, all the expectations are on you and everything. She has been exceptional, leading from the front, leading from the back. And also how do I put it? Her connection with Caitlin Ford on the left. Yeah, their chemistry together, coming down from at a club level down at Arsenal, it has been she's been very good. Yeah. And also this tournament has been a good one for the goalkeepers. Oh God, the goalkeepers have stand out. Yeah. And also, by the way, notable mentions in the standout players, we have Amanda Ilesdat. He has been very good down at the back for the Swedes, helping out in defense and also chipping in with the goals. Yeah. And also we have am I forgetting? We have Jill Rood, by the way. Jill Rood, taking from the fact that in the first game against Portugal, she did not have exactly a stellar performance. But the second game against the US, she upped her game. And we can see when she upped her game, Netherlands were able to pick up and improve a lot. So that one is another player who has been a standout for me. Yeah, Jill Rood. She's now playing her trade at Man City. She's back in the WSL. Don't know how that is going on to get about with the Arsenal fans, because if you all remember, she used to rep the red and white of London. Yeah, she used to be at Arsenal. So Jill Rood has been very, very good by the scoring in every other goal, from the one against the US. She scored in the one against Portugal. She scored in the one against South Africa. So, and not just scoring, she has been playing very good. Yeah. So that one is that. She has been one of the standout performers so far. And then, as I was saying, this has been a tournament for the goalkeepers. The goalkeepers have come out tops. From Nadozi for the Nigerians, who by the way has a penalty save in the tournament, and a couple of many other saves, to Musovic, who has been very, very exceptional since the group stages, and also in the US game, where I think she's the first keeper to have 10 plus saves in one game. Yeah, in the history of the tournament. It has never been achieved. So that one is not a main feat by its own. And then considering whom she was playing against, the reigning champions USWNT, that one cannot be hatuwezi lenga hiyo maneno. She's been so good. And to think that she's the second choice keeper at Chelsea, And now, as I was telling you, they've signed Hannah Hampton, so it's going to be a beefed up competition there for the first place. Yeah. Because Catherine Berger, the German keeper, she's leaving. She was leaving at the end of the season. That was her last season back at Chelsea. So I think she's going back home. She's going back to Germany, either with Frankfurt or Hoffenheim. I'm not sure. Yeah, but she's going back home. So this has been the tournament for the goalkeepers. And also, as we saw, Mary Abs has been instrumental for England. If you can remember that the game against Haiti, she pulled up with a good save, and also the game against Denmark, she was very, very good. And also against Nigeria, she has been good, although she didn't face a lot of shots and a lot was not thrown at her, but for the few times she was required, she came up well and she pulled good saves. So that one I cannot fault her. This has been a tournament for the goalkeepers, just like the Men's World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. This one has also been a tournament for the goalkeepers. They've come out tops. I know, they've come out tops. So, what I'm basically saying is, let's continue watching, let's keep up with it, because it's beyond greatness. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. It might not be as fast-paced or as intense as the men's, because let's not kid ourselves. But it offers a lot of more excitement. Like, there's a lot to learn from the women's game. It's beautiful. It's beautiful in its own way. Yeah. And it's very, very wrong, and it's very, very stupid to be watching the women's game and expecting it to be like the men's game. That one is very, very stupid for me. I don't I don't expect anyone to be going with that sort of mindset. So, because when you focus on that, you'll miss out on the beauty of the women's game. And it is very, very beautiful. So, very, very awesome. Yeah. And if you have a doubt, you just, now that we are in the quarters, where a lot is at stake. So, if you doubt it, take a look. Go on and watch. Take on one of the games. Australia versus France. That one is a hard-hitting affair. Spain versus Netherlands. Another hard-hitting affair. Japan versus Sweden. Another heavyweight encounters. And then Colombia versus England. An underdog versus the perennial favorites. So, what can be more great than? What can be more greater than that? What can be more exciting than that? If you doubt it, just grab a date on one of the matches and watch it. Kama unaona ni stories za jaba msee, keti wait after timing, keti enda uone mechi, enda uone game ikichezwa. And you'll see why the clamor and the excitement for the women's game is so much. Take away the fact that the comparison with the men, ukitoa everything and all about the cry for equal payment and all, if you take all of that away from the game, take it all away, now watch game with an open mind, you'll find the beauty in the game. So anyways, the dates are there to see. So I think it's Thursday or Saturday. Yeah, I think the quarters are beginning from the Friday or they'll rest today and tomorrow. They'll rest tomorrow and Thursday, and then from Friday the quarters are beginning. Yeah, keep up. Saturday the English will play the Colombians, and that one will be clashing with the beginning of the league, but I know people are going to watch it, so let's keep up with it. Anyways, that was the minisode that was not a minisode, that ended up being a full episode. But I think I got carried away in the excitement of the Women's World Cup. Yeah, it has been very exciting for me. So that was it. And for my prediction of the top scorer, I think I'm going to go with maybe someone like Lauren James. I know she's going to bounce back. I might say Lauren James or Bonmati, the Spanish midfielder, or someone like Jill Rood, because all of them so far they have 3 goals. And also don't rule out Hailey Raso, she has 3 goals, and Amanda Illes, that she has 3 goals. Like, maybe you're going to see a 6-goal winner. Like the winner is going to have maybe like something like 6 goals. Because we all know when the tournaments get in the penultimate stages, the defenses get tighter and tighter, because you see the caliber of teams that are getting into the end stages. So you're not going to see many goals. If you're going to see many goals from this stage on, it's going to be a maximum of 3 goals, like a 3-1 win or a 3-0 win. But most of the other ones, they're going to be 2-1s, 2-0s, 1-0s. That one I can say confidently. So, anyways, this is me signing out, Denno, once again. And let's keep up with the league. Remember to join our fantasy league. The link is in the group. The link is in the bio. Check out. And also continue listening in our social medias. Keep up with us. We are available on Google Podcasts. We are available on Apple Podcasts. We are available on Spotify. Listen. We have another episode coming on in the weekend, just before the beginning of the season. We'll drop an episode on Friday, just before Man City take on Burnley and before the opening games for the season begin. Yes. So, this is me signing out. Adios. See you later. and have a nice one. Enjoy.